There's a lyric on the song Loaded Bases on the Victory Lap album. I think that just becomes, I mean, it's almost like the mission statement when you think about who myself, Rashad and Mike are to our community and to Earn Your Leisure. And so the lyric is, see, it's a couple niggas every generation that wasn't supposed to make it out, but decode the matrix. And when they get to speak, it's like a code language, remind niggas of their strength and all their stolen greatness. That lyric just always sat with me. And it was like, yo, that's literally what's happening right now, right? Like, this is it. Like, who would have thought that one day, like, somebody would be getting financial advice from the guy who taught phys ed, right? Like, we've seen so many times in our community, people don't make it out, and we can watch it and we can pinpoint it and we can see the flaws, and we can, like, you know, if they just did this a little different, a little bit more ambition than this, or they would just focus, they could make it. And so, like, making it usually meant like get the six-figure job and hopefully you can take care of your family. And so, like, yeah, Val's from our community, she made it out. Gee, you made it out, I made it out, but did we really make it out? And so it was like, to some people, it feels like we did. And then when we got out, what did we do, right? Like, it's like Neo, when he found out he had the power, now what do you do with it? And so, like, our thing was always to give back. And it's always been that. Like, I can't tell you a time when it wasn't, whether it was teaching kids in an after-school program or mentoring outside of that program or just helping people in the community. Like, that's always been our thing. And so when we started talking about things that, you know, weren't commonplace, it was like, wait, there's something here. Like, when we started Earn Your Leisure, it was like, there's something here. Like, this is the language that our people speak, right? So that when they got to speak, and it's like a coded language, the coded language is the language that we speak, right? And on the other end, it's like double entendre, because the coded language of, especially when it comes to business and finance, it was always talked over our heads. And it was meant for us to not to understand. But when we spoke it, people got it. And they gravitated toward it and they executed on it, right? And then it reminded them, like, yo, I'm brilliant. I really am brilliant. It's just that nobody was speaking to me in a language that I could understand. And so when he said that line, I felt like, yo, this is the mission statement for Earn Your Leisure. Like, there's a couple of dudes every generation, and it doesn't happen all the time, right? Like, it literally happens every generation or so. They decode the matrix. They figure out what they were trying to say, and they gave it back to their people. And then it reminded them of their strength and their stolen greatness, like the greatness that had been stolen from them. Because we've seen Black Wall Street, right? But that's 1921. Right. So when we talk about financial revolution, what we're on now, when we talk about it's going to be monetized, it's going to be televised, like, this is real. Like, this is a generation that, like, yo, three guys from a small town had an idea to change the world, and it really happened. And so, like, people are reaping the benefits of that. It's the reason that we exist. It's the reason why we can have over 14,000 people in Atlanta. Right. And I was talking about to my mom yesterday, and I was like, you know, most times when you hear events, especially done by people of color, it's always like, and there was no acts of violence. And I'm like, I'm so happy I didn't hear any of that, because I don't expect to hear that when Grant Cardone throws one. I don't expect to hear that when Gary Vee has one. That type of language is never used. And so I don't want it to be used with ours. And I'm happy it wasn't. Everybody came together with the same purpose. And it was like, oh, the matrix has now been decoded. And, like, you can't stop it because there's people that have the information. So that's one of them. And then the other one comes from dedication. And in the verse, he's like, he knows he's a genius. He just can't claim it because they left no platform to claim it. He's frustrated, so he get faded deep down inside. You know, you can't fade him, right? So, like, there's been so many people in our communities that have so much greatness, but never were valued. We always talk about that, and Derek Falcon brought that up very early. He was like, the kid that wants to be the entrepreneur or wants to be the culinary chef or wants to be the next genius in tech, we don't value him. We don't make sure that he makes it. But if he was an athlete, we huddle around and make sure that he can get out this community, right? We're gonna be like, yo, stay away from that. Y'all stay away from him. We're gonna make sure that the athlete makes it, but we don't treat the entrepreneur the same way. And so if you think about that in the sense of what's happened here with Earn Your Leisure, was like, yo, we've given a platform for people to shine their greatness. So that person he was talking about, he's a genius. He just can't claim it. Like, how many people now can watch an episode and say, like, yo, I could be that. Like, I really can be him. Like, now I can claim my genius. I can claim my greatness because I'm watching somebody do it. I'll throw Jay in there too, when he was like, everybody wants to be us. We just got to see us. Like, that's it. Like, that's it. And so, like, that becomes the platform for it. Like, Earn Your Leisure becomes that. And then you see other people creating platforms where they can shine brilliance, because we can't do it all, right? We're not going to be able to get every entrepreneur. We can't, right? But somebody might be inspired to say, let me start something in Charleston, North Carolina. I can start it there and shine greatness on those people. Or I can be in Vallejo, California and start something. Let's shine greatness on those people. And so like, even if we don't do it, somebody has inspired to do it that gives a platform. Because our thing was like, yeah, these people are great, but what platform are they supposed to go to? Like, everybody's not going to make it to the Breakfast Club. We were like, well, we'll just create it. And so like those two lines in particular, like, and there's plenty more, like that Loaded Bases line always sits with me because I feel like, yo, he's talking about us. He's talking about us. And then the other one is, again, dedication, that knowing you're a genius, you can't claim it because there was no platform to explain it. I'm like, yo, bet, that's what we are.
Yo, so let's pause for a second, right? And let's give you some love. Everyone clap it up, show some love how you show love, whether it's in the chat, whether it's on the wherever, find it, show your love. The craziest part about that is that's the exact quote that I have.
Oh, which one?
The Nipsey from Dedication. And I finished the quote with, how long should I stay dedicated? How long till opportunity meets preparation?
The real nigga reparations before I run up in your
with some for recreation. Because it's so powerful that a platform has been created for all of us now to have a voice and to not just spread locally, but to spread globally. So I think that is the reach that's happening. Is that every time there's an EYL event or an EYL function or anything related to Earn Your Leisure, community grows and it forms. It's like it's organic. It's like anytime that someone like whoever, if you tell a friend like, yo, have you heard these dudes? Have you heard anything? Have you tapped into this? You find that person has now invested in their time into it and has told someone else. And there's that natural organic growth because there's a platform to be around people who love and care and are trying to do more. And so it excites me to know platforms are created and people are inspired to really live out their genius. Because you're right, you know, we were all created with a purpose, and that purpose is not meant to just go, you know, work for someone else to steal your idea or to stall your idea, right? Like, you're creative. We all have gifts that we were blessed with. Our mission is to pursue and to work that thing out, to cultivate that gift so that community may form around it, and so that people may be blessed by it and continue to grow legacy upon legacy upon legacy. So you know, Jay's definitely going to be there on that legacy vibe because you know you watch the growth of someone as they continue to now become a voice of your community and to continue to build. And so yeah, man, I had it right there. I was sitting there like, man, that dedication. I mean, I got another joint for dedication, but I want to make sure that you get a chance to get another joint in.
Yeah, while Val's here, and I know some people that's new here, like, I want to talk about Val just really quickly. So
yeah,
Valencia Clay, who's up on my screen, she has this beautiful hair and she has some in the background. I want to talk about how important she is, and we talk about inspiration. I've known her since she's probably 12 years old. I think we hired her. We were the first people to hire her, but she was also part of that program that I talk about so much. And what Val did, I don't know if Val doesn't exist, we don't have Earn Your Leisure. I don't think people really understand that. Like, we tell her all the time, but if she doesn't exist, then there's no Earn Your Leisure. Because what she did in terms of highlighting her gift in the educational platform was really what inspired us to say, let's record what we're doing, because we saw her do it. And a lot of times when Oshai brings it up, it's like, you know, you see somebody from your community make it and become successful, and you realize like, damn, well, she made it. What's the chances that we're going to make it? And we never really had that mentality. We were like, yo, she did it. Yo, we can do it too. And so I just want to talk about how important she is and how lucky we are to have her here right now with us this Sunday, because she could be anywhere. And so I'm giving you your flowers because you're here right now, but that's how important she is to Earn Your Leisure. Like, she was in the classroom recording and we were watching. And I think we had this great conversation about one day, and you were like, for most of my life, I've watched you guys lead. And so when I led, I didn't know where to go because I had always followed you. And it hit me like, oh shit, yeah, damn. Like, wow, and we're watching you. And so like, to see you here today, it warms my heart. And you know, I love you always, but I wanted to let the people know who are here right now how important you are to this movement that has been created called Earn Your Leisure. And always, you know, you family, so it don't even matter. But I just want the people to know how important you are.